a monster Christian organization whatsoever, man. We do everything in the confines of our own community, whether it's prison programs, so brothers and sisters that's locked behind the wall. We got what's up, Salaki?
I forgot the first to go about. Now I got first now.
All right, no, I'm gonna just start over for y'all, so just in case y'all didn't hear. Shalom, we the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, starting out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General Yohana. We teach Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians that they are, in fact, the 12 lost tribes according to the Bible, man. We're not affiliated with any other Christian group, Muslim mosque, any other Israelite groups whatsoever, man. We do everything in the confines amongst us in this nation, Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian men and women. We the things we possess. What's up, Bob? What's up?
Just one more time. I got it.
All right, no sweat. No, we'll run like that. The things that we do, we got prison programs for brothers and sisters that's locked behind the wall, or anybody that's a loved one of a brother or sister behind the wall. We got clothing, food drive. We got record expungement programs. We got a whole bunch of things galore that we do amongst each other, because we understand what it really takes for a nation to be built. And what it takes for a nation to be built, for the most part, is you got to be able to love your brother and sister, and you got to be able to go to them when you have an alt with them, or if you just got a situation that you're battling yourself, you got to be able to be a man or a woman to go to the next one and apologize or confront whatever the situation is. Respectfully and with love, not out of hatred or malice. But my topic today, man, we got to protect the children. And when I say protect the children, it's just not from these sick sexual deviances in the school that we know as a LG, the alphabet community. It is all sexual assaults. It's all, child molesters. It's all these type of people. Excuse my language, TikTok and Facebook. But we have to be able to protect our people when it comes to these things, because in Israel, we never was built, nor we ever strive, according to the Bible, to be in the LGBT, to sexually abuse children. And all the stories that you read in the Bible that somebody did do things of that manner, it was always the ending result was death. The ending result was being unalive, which is righteous. Let me get Deuteronomy 22 and 25 too. We got to understand, where did the origin of this, child abuse, physical child abuse come from? Deuteronomy 22 and 25. We got to figure out, where did this child abuse come from? We got to figure out where these things is coming from, because again, if we're Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian and we follow the Bible, it's obvious, it's clear, it's crystal clear that we cannot do these things, because the ending result is unalive. That's just the bottom line, and it's a righteous thing, because we see nowadays, even in the penitentiary, by them living by different laws, they living by different laws being in the penitentiary versus what we deal with out here. That's their law back there. If you a chomo, somebody who abused a woman in that manner, or abused a woman, period, or any child, that might be your last run. You might not even make it to the next day, man. And it's very important, and it's critical that Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians understand that every child that you see that's according to your lineage, according to your nation, is not just somebody who looks like you. That is your little brother. That is your little sister. Go ahead, read that out.
John, Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 25. And it reads, "But if a man find a betrothed damsel in the field, and the man force her."
If a man find a woman in the field and he force her, go ahead.
And lie with her.
He forced her to lay down so he could handle his business on this woman. Go ahead.
Then the man only that lay with her shall die.
And the man that lays with her, the man who forced that woman, he shall surely lose his life. Why? Is because the Lord is looking at it as serious as it is. Sexually assault, I don't want to raping somebody, that equates to death. You're taking the innocence of a child, of a woman, of another man. You're taking the purest form of them, and it's not wrong. And why is it not wrong? If you have a child, or we all got mothers, how would you feel if a man snuck up behind your mom at the grocery store and handled his business with her? You would have all form of hatred and malice in your heart, And every form of wicked desire that you have in your head, you will surely desire to seek those things out. And that's just coming out of flesh, and it's understandable. And I understand where you're coming from. You're not wrong for feeling that way whatsoever. No man would be wrong, or no woman would be wrong to, even if it's nobody a part of you, just to know that that happened to somebody in your community. You would not be wrong for feeling the way you feel, because the Lord said it. But the way the Lord would take it, the Lord just, hey, stone him, hang him, whatever the Bible is telling, however the Lord want to, deal with that accordingly. That is the ending result. That's what it equal up to, death. Go ahead, Doc. You got more on there?
Oh no, I just
go ahead.
I thought the question. So I was like, I want to kill them too myself.
Yeah, of course. See, and it's not wrong to feel that way. It's not wrong, because even as a parent, your sole job as a parent when you have children, not only to raise them up, but your main job is be willing to lay down your life. And if you're not willing to do that for your child, don't have any kids. Don't have any sex. Because why? Do you? No, I don't. Haley Bell, no, I don't. I don't support it, because you know what I'm saying, according to our culture and my God, he doesn't want us to invest in nothing like that. So I wouldn't support it whatsoever. And not just that, it's other things too. Go sit down. No. See, we deal with our kids in here. Go ahead. So, anyways, go ahead and put that first article, because I'm unsure if any of y'all know about pederasty when it comes to the Greek Empire. You know, the things that they was doing to these young boys in the military. Grown men was doing to young boys. I'm pretty sure everybody's seen the movie 300. Those are Spartans. And what we're about to read right now, we're going to read what everybody think is the ideal man with all the muscles, the real gladiator. You know, the oppressor is just the strongest, the biggest, baddest warlord that ever lived. But we're actually going to show what is his nature. What do he like to do when it comes to the military? Because we know what goes on in the military, on them Navy ships, when y'all are on them ships for 6 months. We know how much vile, disgusting, you know what I'm saying, sexual deviance is going on. We know exactly what's going on them ships. And you can't fool us, because we got ex-brothers in here who was in the military who left because of that reason. Because they got tired of seeing how filthy and disgusting it really was. And I understand. I understand. I wouldn't say that. I'm just confident in what I say about my people, and it's disgusting. So if you don't have really nothing to say, I'm just not even going to acknowledge you. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
John, this is the article called "How the Ancient Greeks Viewed Pederasty."
The ancient who?
Ancient Greeks.
Okay, go ahead.
Viewed pederasty and homosexuality. In many cities that state it was perfectly acceptable for older men to have sexual relationships.
Read that from the top again.
In many cities, that's how the ancient Greeks viewed pederasty and homosexuality. In many city-states, it was perfectly acceptable for older men to have sexual relationships with younger boys.
Okay, keep going.
Tim Brinkhoff, January 13, 2023. Pederasty in ancient Greece is well documented through writing and art. Key takeaways. As the French philosopher Michael
scroll down to the next paragraph, because they're going to just talk about this whole
For a good example, look no further than ancient Greece. The way that Plato, Aristotle, and their contemporaries conceived of human sexuality was fundamentally different from the way we do today. Hellenistic scholars doubt the Greeks would have been able to understand the modern distinction between homosexual and heterosexual relationships. In classic antiquity, people didn't care if you were attracted to men or women.
People didn't what?
Didn't care whether you were attracted to men or women.
Now, the culture that America actually take is not only from Egypt, not only from Rome, but also Greek. Because at once upon a time, just 20 years ago, you know, people, they had some sense of shame to themselves. They wouldn't say what they were really into when it came to their secrets in the chamber, in the bedroom, whatever you want to call it. Now today, this is what everybody say. Why does it matter who they lay with? You got Christians saying, why does it matter if they're LGBT, or if he loves a man, or if she loves a woman? Now that's what they say. And now here in America, they don't care if you're LGBT or heterosexual. But if you're heterosexual, they start to care that you heterosexual when you got multiple wives. But you can be LGBT, sleep with multiple same sexes, and they don't care. Why is that? Go ahead.
I was gonna say the world's against the Most High.
Exactly. The world is against what the Lord said. That's why the Tower of Babel got the falling. That's why the Tower of Babel went down the way it went down, because everybody came together. That's why Sodom and Gomorrah went down, for all that same sex and vile affection. You know what I'm saying? Was going on. Go ahead, keep reading.
What mattered was whether you were the dominant, active.
What? Say it again.
What mattered was whether you were the dominant, active, or submissive, passive partner in the bedroom.
See, back then they say the dominant, meaning the man, or passive as the woman. Like modern day today, they like to say, well, are you a top? Are you a bottom? Meaning, are you the male on top or the woman on bottom? That's what they do now. And the same thing, matter of fact, we're gonna keep reading because Mike Tyson gonna roll around in this. Go ahead.
Not only did the Greeks have a different way of thinking about sexuality, but they also condoned a type of semi-romantic, semi-sexual relationship that would never be permitted in Western countries today.
So what is that? Go ahead.
Pederasty, as David Bain summarized in his review by Harold Passer, refers to the practice whereby young men pursue pubescent boys and enter into short-term relationships with them, which expire when the boy becomes a man.
See, and that's the thing right there. That's the thing right now. The Christian church says you can love who you want to love, and they all for the whole LGBT community, this, that, and the third. They're lining you up to say you can love who you want to love. It don't matter if they're old, young, black, white, whatever the case may be. But what people fail to realize, mark my words for everybody listening right now, what people fail to realize is, as much as you go to church or you support the LGBT, it's going to be the day. It's going to be a day that pedophilia will be accepted. It will be a day to where a 14-year-old girl can look her mom and dad in the face and tell them she is in love with a 40-year-old man. It's coming to that point. And it even tell you the way the Greeks live, Western society would never accept it. Never. They wouldn't. But the Greeks were doing the homosexuality. Over here, you couldn't do it. Now it's okay. It's going to be a time to where men are going to take up young men, young women. Good.
Pederasty was widespread disjointed city states that made up ancient Greece. In some of his philosophical, Plato suggests that even Socrates enjoyed the company of young male lovers. While pederasty itself was everywhere, social attitudes toward the practice varied from region to region. In some communities, like Sparta,
some communities like what?
In some communities like Sparta. Okay. Relationship between boys and men were explicitly permitted, even institutionalized.
Say it one more time. Really clear.
In some communities, like Sparta, relationship between boys and men were explicitly permitted, even institutionalized.
So them cats on 300 that everybody loved. The movie is a good movie until you actually know how disgusting they was. But the movie 300, with all them Spartans, Leonidas and all of them, those same gutter cats love boys, and it was permitted. It was okay. Why do you think they fought so hard and they won so many wars? It's because they love a was at battle with them. It's just like if a man has a wife and kids at home and somebody breaks in the house, that man is going to transform into a man he never thought he could be if he make it out. If he make it out, he's going not to fight for his, he's not going to fight for his family. Like, he's going to fight for his life because his family depend on him. How do you think that them cats in 300 got away and did what they did? How do you think America wins wars the way they win wars? How do you think this has happened? It's because they have a love, I don't want to say hate, an infection or affection with their soldier, their battle buddy. This is my best friend. They always say bring your battle buddy, which is understandable. Why? But bring your battle buddy. Why do you think they won so many wars? And we already know it takes 5 police officers to get a 145-pound man down with handcuffs. I mean, we know that. But why and how are they winning it? You see where I'm going. Go ahead.
You're saying that they're secret lovers, like they're strong, they like try to best and make sure that they win against their enemies so they can protect what they love.
Exactly. Just like Valentine's Day. Group of Celia and I forgot the other guy's name. They was lovers on the battlefield. And guess who they were? The same people. When he realized his lover died on the battlefield, he went and cut the same soldier heart out and grabbed his heart. The same one that unalived his lover on the battlefield, he went and cut his heart out. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'm glad you brought that up because in Valentine's Day they try to make it funny how like you might see a baby with like a bow and arrow or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
The whole time the history behind it was real. That's the reason why there's a baby with a bow and arrow.
Right.
They try to make it funny. Mm-hmm. You're shooting arrows of love or heart. Really, it's just symbolizing war for your lover and stuff.
Yeah. Hey, that's a good point. Look, you learn something every day. Go ahead,
In other places such as Athens, yeah.
Okay.
In other places such as Athens, laws were put in place to eradicate what was stolen, being regarded as an archaic, unnatural pedestrian Sparta. Most of what we know about pedestrians in Sparta comes from classical texts written by outside observers. Mm-hmm. One of the characters in Plato's laws stresses that homosexuality in the warrior civilization was not just socially acceptable, but universally practiced.
It was universally practiced.
According to Plutarch, mm-hmm. who was born long after Greece had been incorporated into Rome, pederasty was deeply embedded in the Spartan ritual system, specifically in the Agos.
That sounds like that right there sounds like what the Catholics do. That sounds exactly what the Catholics do. All of that, Father, Son, Holy Ghost, Mother Mary, whatever they say, put their mouth on that baby rock. It sounds just like it. Go ahead.
The arduous training program that turned boys into soldiers, describing life in the Ago. Plutarch writes that shortly after the boys turned 12 years old, they were favorites.
Like, put on mute real quick. Put on mute.
Describing life in the Ago, Plutarch writes that shortly after the boys turned 12 years old, they were favored with a society of lovers from among the reputable young men.
Like, read up a little bit because I done lost complete train of thought.
According to Plutarch, who was born long after Greece had been incorporated into Rome, pederasty was deeply embedded in the Spartan ritual system, specifically in the Ago, the arduous training program that turned boys into soldiers. Describing life in the Ago, Plutarch writes that shortly after the boys turned 12 years old, they were favored with the society of lovers from among the reputable young men. He continues, the boys' lovers also shared with them in their honor or disgrace, and it is said that one of them was once fined by the magistrates because his favorite boy had let an ungenerous cry escape him while he was fighting. Moreover, though this sort of love was so approved among them that even the maidens found lovers in good and noble women, still there was no jealous rivalry in it. But those who fixed their attentions on the same boys made this rather a foundation for friendship with one another and preserved in common efforts to make their love one as noble as possible.
So what they saying is the fact that when these boys became 12, 13, according to their community, it was already grown men lined up wanting these children, wanting these young boys. Talking about the boys' voice didn't even drop, and they looking at them like that. That's the same thing that goes on in the penitentiary. The very same thing. They prey on the weak, they prey on the unwise, the new, and it's just remarkable how people get upset, which I understand they get upset with, child abuse, but you also got to put LGBT in there too. You can't have it divided because it's the same thing. And that's how a lot of people in LGBT community become homosexual. It's because they've been abused at a young age. You know what I'm saying? They hypersexual or they reject all manner of sex in a relationship. It could be anything. You know what I'm saying? They could be promiscuous as hell. Go ahead.
It has been argued that pederasty originated from coming of age rituals that could date back as far as the Stone Age. In Sparta, the practice had adapted to the city-state's unique culture, which emphasized community over family. Children were raised by the ego, not their parents. The older lovers, called Orestes in academic literature, had as much authority over their beloved as their biological fathers did. The idea, as Plutarch puts it, was that they were all, in a sense, the fathers and tutors and governors of all the boys. Athenian laws in ancient Athens, things were a little more complicated. While most Athenians believed there was nothing wrong with a man being in love with or feeling attracted to another man.
And these the Greeks that say it. And that's the thing that we have to realize as Israel, Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian. You have consequences when you do this. Even though this is their culture, your face is on everything when it comes to the LGBT community. And guess what? That's why we the ones who lead in all these viral diseases. You know what I'm saying? Chlamydia, gonorrhea, HIV, everything across the board. But this is actually their culture. This is what they do. And for us to accept being in the LGBT, but not accepting pedophilia, which we shouldn't accept either or. If we accepting one, America accepting one and not the other, there's an issue. Because you can't have one without the other. And the cause and effect is because of a child got abused and now they became this person. Go ahead.
There were, as David Cohen explains in his article, Lost Society and Homosexuality in Classical Athens, mixed feelings about males adopting a submissive role that was unworthy of a free citizen. There appeared to have been no laws prohibiting homosexual relations in general. There was, however, a law that prohibited you from committing what was known as hubris, the act of humiliating or dishonoring another person.
Now, this is what Mike Tyson was doing, and not in physical, but Mike Tyson, I forgot who he was boxing, but he said, I'll knock you out and F you. I don't know if y'all are familiar with that. Even Shaka Utmost was battling Captain Zariak, and they was talking about their God, and he said the same thing. They think this is masculine to take a man's behind or knock a man out and take his behind. Even in the penitentiary, oh, you fighting for your life. A man's going to fight you, knock you out, and take your behind. That's what Hebrews, and it's just an arrogant pride type of act. You're just prideful. And who's prideful today? The LGBT. Not saying they've been knocked over their head, but they prideful when it comes to this. Go ahead.
The act of humiliating or dishonoring another person for one's own gratification a quintessentially Greek concept who breeds not only in compassion, prostitution, and sexual assault, but also consensual relationships. According to Cohen, men who consented to being the submissive partner were often described as committing hubris against themselves. Crucially, the same standard did not apply to slaves who, being slaves, were perceived as lacking both pride and honor. Current scholarship on pederasty, Cohen repeats, asserts that there was no law prohibiting an Athenian male from consummating a sexual relationship with a free boy without using force or payment.
All right, you can drop that. So, let me get Ecclesiastes 4 and 10. What we got to understand is nowadays in America, the statistics behind, children being abused is 93.6% is men doing the action of abusing children, whether it's male or female. And guess what? Out of that whole 100%, it's 57.5 and they're Caucasian men. Then it's 16.1 for Black, 12 for Native Indian, Native American, and 11.8 for Hispanic. That should show you the root cause and the root, reason behind why things go on the way they go on. That's why so many, like even with the Mendez brothers, their father was abusing both of them, and then both of them unalived their parents, and they done, I believe, 20, 30 years, and I believe they just got out. This is a true story. The Mendez brothers being sexually assaulted by their father. And this is what really goes on in these households. And as Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, we got to realize this is not our custom. And if we keep following the ways of the world, the Lord is going to keep destroying us the way he is. And he's going to allow the oppressor to continue doing what they're doing. Because as of right now, we see what the man in the White House did with Epstein and all these children. How is he free after 3 or 4 years of talking about it? But R. Kelly just had a few people come up and say something. P. Diddy had a few people come up and say something. Bill Cosby had a few people come up and say something, and these boys doing hella time right now. But is factual evidence from the internet. I can't remember what link it was that this really happened. These are the people really tied into it, and it's a list of people that was there with Epstein, and their list of people are living right now. But since Epstein's going, nobody else is getting charged. And the main one that's holding all the information back is the orange guy in the White House. Go ahead.
Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 10. And it reads, be as a father unto the fatherless, and instead of an husband unto their mother, so shall thou be as a son of the Most High.
So be a father to the fatherless instead of a husband to the mom, meaning you can have love and you can take brothers and sisters up under your wing like they're your child. That don't mean you have to go and marry this woman, meaning sleep with this woman to take ownership over these children. That is how we protect our community, because there's a lot of sisters who don't want to get married and a lot of brothers who don't want to get married. But that just still does not stop the duty that us as Israel have to do for one another. And for the most part, when it speaks to the scripture, it's our job to protect our women and children, married or not. Go ahead.
And he shall love thee more than thy mother to it.
All right, so yeah, you drop that. Let me get that next article, that book rating. So we have to come to a common understanding that we really want change in this community. It doesn't come with marching. It doesn't come with protests. It doesn't come with just boycotts. Because I see a lot of y'all sitting here eating this Chinese food after the boycott. Hell, I work with one. I seen them walking up with Chinese food. And then guess what happened this week? The 4th of July is coming up. And for whoever don't know, those same firecrackers, that not only were they bought from the Chinese, that's their custom. Their celebration, they started the celebration of popping fireworks. And guess what you're going to do? Go out there and do the same thing. Go ahead.
Well, I just had to precept what you said about protecting.
Go ahead.
All right. This is the book of Nehemiah, chapter 4, verse 14. And I looked and rose up and said unto the nobles and to the rulers and to the rest of the people, be not ye afraid of them. Remember the Lord, which is great and terrible, and fight for your brethren, your sons, and your daughters, your wives, and your houses.
There we have it. What more we say? We have to fight for our brethren, our children, and why? We got to be able to caution our lives for the. You got some else? We we got to be able to caution our lives for the sake of this kingdom. And a lot of us ain't gonna do it because it's purely out of selfishness. And I don't blame you because Christianity teaches you how to be selfish. You must be selfish if you're a Christian. If you're not being selfish, then you're not a Christian at all, and they'll cast you out. Go ahead, Al.
Conor McCann article. Buck breaking. Buck breaking is a documentary film that explores the history of sexual exploitation of Black people by the dominant society. The film particularly covers the taboo subject of sexual exploitation of Black males throughout history. The film Buck Breaking draws parallels between ancient forms of this sexual exploitation to the modern forms of buck breaking being used on Black people today.
So now you could drop that and go to the very next article. So if it's speaking on the exploitation of ancient, you know what I'm saying, ancient time and is modern, what was going on in ancient times? What was going on? Hubris, pride. They were stripping men from their pride, their masculinity. And guess what? Now it was a form of quote unquote discipline in Israel because that's something we never done. That wasn't something that we were into. What's up?
Now, I'm glad you brought that up. In the book of Maccabees, the first one, the second one, I remember the Romans were so gay, like they were so fruity that they were making the Israelites uncircumcised themselves.
It's kind of vague right now.
So
no, I have to see the precept. It's kind of vague. I'm not gonna say you're wrong though. Yeah. So go to that next article.
Conor. Sexual exploitation of the enslaved. Virginia Encyclopedia. The sexual exploitation of enslaved people was a facet of enslavement in Virginia that took many forms for both women and men. Enslavers sexually assaulted and abused enslaved individuals, demanded reproduction from them to enhance their own bottom lines, and otherwise used the bodies of the enslaved for monetary gain, pleasure, and punishment. Western cultures.
Hold on, monetary gain. It's cotton, picking cotton, oranges, cherries, whatever. What was the next word?
Pleasure.
For pleasure. We already know what they speaking on pleasure. The whole article, we just read is speaking on pleasure. Butt breaking. Go ahead.
And punishment.
And punishment, meaning whipping your back, putting you inside the not the dugout. What's that called? Put them in the hole. Putting them in the hole. That's discipline. Go ahead.
Western cultures. Oh no, and punishment. Western cultures, objectification and sexualizing of Black bodies exacerbated the sexual vulnerability of enslaved men and women. In addition to being detrimental to the well-being of enslaved people, sexual exploitation strained marriages and other interpersonal relationships valued by enslaved people. See, and it strained marriages because when a woman was being abused by the slave master, you had some brothers, which I understand I see where they come from. You had some brothers who just so appalled they didn't even want their wife. They just didn't even know how to cope with what they were feeling, knowing that not that their wife gave it, but somebody took it and he had no strength to do anything about it. That was a strain. Sisters didn't want to be touched by the husband because they had to fight for their secret parts. That's that strain, even with children and stuff like that. It made a hatred not towards the marriage, but in the household for the oppressor. Go ahead. The historical record speaks to the ubiquity of mixed race sexual relationships in the era of slavery. Virginia had the largest number of mixed race enslaved people of all the southern states. Totality approximately 44,000 in the year 1850. While some of these sexual relationships were long-term and some enslaved men and women navigated sexually intimate relationships with their enslavers and other white people in an effort to survive and secure better treatment. Historians question whether any relationship under such and unequal power dynamic can be considered consensual. Sexual violence and the enslaved, plantation violence. As it was elsewhere, sexual violence was a ubiquitous component of enslavement throughout the history of slavery in Virginia. Enslavers exercised almost complete control over the bodies of enslaved individuals and the conditions of their existence.
And for sisters that be online always saying, well, submit. If I submit, I ain't no slave to a man. This is what a slave is. When he control your whereabouts, whatever you doing, how you eat, what you do, what you just everything. You know what I'm saying? What's that term? Oh, damn, what was it? Working in the kitchen pregnant, cooking barefooted pregnant. That's what the term is. That's what slavery is. Go ahead.
Enslavers exercised almost complete control over the bodies of enslaved individuals and the conditions of their existence, providing themselves with numerous avenues for force and coercion. In the intimate lives of the enslaved, the plantation culture itself, with its strict hierarchy of white male authority, emboldened enslavers to demean and dominate those over which they held power. And the law provided enslaved people with no protection from sexual violence. The rape of an enslaved woman was not a crime under most state laws.
It was not what?
Not a crime under most state laws.
So last time I checked, the Greeks, they was even able, you know what I'm saying, to take the children, young boys and do what they want, and it was not illegal. So can anybody tell me what's the difference between ancient Greek and abusing young boys? And then somebody tell me, you know what I'm saying, what's the difference between that and what's being spoke about right here in the 1800s? Nothing at all. Go ahead.
John. In George versus State, the Supreme Court of Mississippi ruled in 1859 that a black enslaved man could not be convicted of raping an enslaved woman because it was only a crime to commit a rape upon a white woman.
You see that? You see that?
Because of this absence of legal protections, historians lack an archive of legal cases to determine the extent of sexual violence against the enslaved and must rely on other evidence. For enslaved women in particular, slave narratives speak to the ubiquity and constant threat of sexual violence at the hands of enslavers, their family members, overseers, and others. As Harriet Jacobs wrote, "My master was, to my knowledge, the father of 11 slaves. But did the mothers dare to tell who was the father of their children? Did the other slaves dare to allude to it, except in whispers among themselves? No, indeed, they knew too well the terrible consequences." Incidents.
Hold on, that sounds like a deadbeat dad, don't it? It sounds like a deadbeat dad. See, the thing is, all in Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community, European people, you know, Caucasian people say, "Oh well, your dad never came back with the milk." Oh, yo, you ain't got a father. Stop sleeping with women and make them whores and getting them pregnant. Even in this community, sisters say men ain't this, men ain't that. You know, child support. But clearly in this article right here, when this oppressor was abusing them women in the field, he left his kids in the field. That's the first ain't worth a damn father. But we just happen to get caught by the stray because that's who taught us. He the real one who you know what I'm saying, started child support when he ain't worth a damn. Because I know thousands of brothers, black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, Caribbean, South, you know what I'm saying, North Central and South America that love their kids, love their wives. But then when you look on the other side of the playing field, let him get upset. Let his wife sleep around with a black. He gonna go unalive everybody in the house and lead a dog. He gonna let the dog live and then take his own life. Look at Chris Benoit. Y'all look him up. Y'all look up Chris Benoit. So when they say that black men ain't this in child support, the oppressor beat this, you know what I'm saying, beat this fear into these women and these people around here, so nobody could ever say who the father is. who the father is. Go ahead.
Here Jacob wrote, my master was, to my knowledge, the father of 11 slaves. But did the mother dare tell you who the father of their children was? Did the other slaves dare to allude to it, except in whispers? Among themselves, no, indeed, they knew too well the terrible consequences. Incidents in life of a slave girl, 1861. Reverend Israel Massey, who was born into slavery in Emporia, recalled that enslavers and overseers would send husbands out on the farm milking cows or cutting wood. Then he gets in bed with slaves himself. Some women would fight and tussle. Others would be humbled, feared of the beating.
This is why the scriptures say, never trust thy enemy. Because like his, paraphrase, like his wickedness, it rusted like iron, meaning it doesn't matter if it's dry outside, wet outside, you put the metal in a box, you put it in a wet cup, that rust is going to iron regardless. I mean, that iron is going to rust regardless. And at this time, this oppressor would tell slaves to go out here and go work just so he could go run up in the bed and deal with his woman the way he want to deal with her. That's why the scriptures say, never trust your enemy. Never. And today, we got so much trust, honor, and respect for the oppressor today. But we for some reason we can't realize that the oppressor that we honor and we uphold so much with his Christian religion is the same Christian that put abortion and child support in our community. Is the same Christian that's going to pull you over in that black and white and take your black ass to jail regardless what you believe in or how you look or whatever type of money you make. That same oppressor is going to put drug in your community, lock your uncles in them up for 20 to 40 years, and then turn around and make weed legal for you to sell. But what they're going to do is take the weed and then cause some type of disruption in your DNA and your physical for you and your kids that's to come. That's why I say never trust thy enemy. And we always just want to be able to turn the other cheek because we think the Bible just means turn the other cheek. Like, no, turn the other cheek meaning don't be an idiot. Forgive, but don't be an idiot. Don't forget. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to pick up on that.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
It's the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, verse 10, and it reads, never trust thine enemy.
Never.
For like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness.
So iron is going to rust regardless because it's moisture in the air. You can't just make some. You can put iron out in the desert. You know what I'm saying? It's still going to rust because that's the natural cause of what's going to go on. That's the chemical effect. And just like his wickedness is going to be there. Oppressors they're just who they are. Not saying there ain't no good ones out here. But at the end of the day, if you in the lines then and it's 30 lines, you gonna figure out which line on your side for the 29 line? No, hell no. You in a snake, then you gonna figure out what snake ain't trying to eat you? Hell no. You just know it's snakes. Come on. Even today, we can see a snake go across the floor and say that's a black snake. He harmless, but we still ain't going in near that snake. We ain't trying to get caught up with that snake. We know that's harmless. Go ahead.
Elizabeth Keckley, who was born into slavery in the Piedmont region of Virginia and taken by her enslavers to North Carolina, told in her narrative behind the scenes for 30 years as slave and 4 years in the White House, 1868, of being repeatedly raped by the son of a wealthy plantation owner who lived nearby. Eventually, she gave birth to the son that he fathered. Indeed, the sons of enslavers often repeated the patterns of sexual exploitation they learned on the plantation. In 1826, two students at the University of Virginia raped a 16-year-old enslaved woman and later stripped her naked and beat her for giving them a venereal disease, as recounted by Alan Taylor in Thomas Jefferson's Education, 2019.
And the thing is with that is, if she's getting abused so many times by so many oppressors and oppressor's son, who gave it to her? Who gave it to her? See, the thing is, I hate to say it, white people are sore winners. And when we say they're sore winners, because they won at everything. They got America. They got Rome. They got Australia. They got Egypt. I mean, yeah, hell, they got Egypt. They got South Africa. You know, they got Hawaii. They got Europe. They got all these places. They own the Diamond District. They own gold. You know what I'm saying? They own Tesla. But why are you still upset with black people? You conquered the world. You conquered the minds of many. And you conquered this woman and abused her, but you beat her because of what you do. Because of what y'all do. What's in y'all nature. She has to take the straight round because of what y'all do. That's what they do here in the world now. They you know what I'm saying, they straight blackball and crucify niggas when they talk about rapping and drugs because it's they folks listening to it. But they don't never talk about Eminem, only how good he is, but you don't talk about what he talks about. They only talk about Lil Wayne talking about whores and women. You know, NBA Youngboy talking about drilling and guns and this and that and Chief Keef and King Von, but what is Eminem talking about? He's the greatest, but why don't we talk about why is he great? Now, so if it was more people, if something was to happen, you know, to a white child because it's the music, they'll say it's because of you. But if something happened to a black child, they're gonna say, "Oh, he." Go ahead.
Women were not the only ones who faced sexual assault.
Mm-hmm.
Jacobs noted that in addition to raping enslaved women, enslavers did in some cases exercise the same authority over the male slaves. In a 1787 incident in Maryland, an enslaved man was sexually assaulted when he was forced at gunpoint by two white men to rape a free black woman. As with enslaved women, fighting back was usually futile, as those who resisted would be whipped or sold to a plantation in the lower South, separated from their families.
So you mean to tell me these two devils rolled up on a brother, basically try to force him to lay up with another enslaved woman, and he refused, and they were going to take him down south for doing the right thing without the Bible? Just something that's like white people like to say, a decent human. He didn't want to sexually abuse that woman, so they went and sold him. They went and sold him off. That goes back to that hubris, that arrogance, that pride. That's what it goes back to, because you know it's so euphoric to these people to sexually abuse somebody. You know what I'm saying? They get aroused with just doing shit like, doing stuff like that. They like to see people become weak up under them, and it's just something that gives, I don't know what the chemical effect is in their mind, but they get a thrill out of whatever the hell they into. I mean, hell, they like dogs and peanut butter. I mean, I'm a nigga. I don't know nothing about it. But it's something so euphoric in these people's mind where they get aroused by knowing somebody's being forced and taking that will. Go ahead, Hop.
Separated from their families and consigned to a life of even harder labor. Nonetheless, some enslaved people did resist, self-emancipating, fighting back, or in extreme cases, resorting to the murder of their abusers. Western culture's objectification and sexualizing of black bodies contributed to the sexual vulnerability of enslaved men and women. Black women had long been depicted by early European travelers as especially fertile and hypersexual, a view that was carried over to enslaved women.
Hold up. Read that again, because I really know that y'all missed that point. Go ahead.
Western culture's objectification and sexualizing of black bodies contributed to the sexual vulnerability of enslaved men and women. Black women had long been depicted by early European travelers as especially fertile and hypersexual.
So what they saying is black women been depicted as being fertile, meaning can have a lot of babies, and hypersexual, meaning you can go in there all day, all night, whenever you want, and that thing's still gonna be good. That thing is still gonna be ready to go. Versus, you know, white women, they gonna turn over because you know what I'm saying, because you can't get me off. But they knew if they was to go in that barn or that outhouse or that shack, they'll be able to go to that woman and that thing will be hot and ready. Not because she wanted to be, it's just because that's how sisters built. It's good. It's ready. Go ahead.
A view that was carried over to enslaved women to justify sexual contact without consent. Both enslaved men and women endured violations of their bodies and a general lack of consideration for their privacy. They were scrutinized, groped, and objectified by enslavers.
See, and that's what I don't understand. Still to this day, man, is you got certain things in life to where you get the bare minimum. You know what I'm saying? Even in the word for we came into the truth, we can look at something and say every man at least has a right to eat and survive, or go to work, or provide for his family. Just like every man or woman, and again, we don't deal with the other people, other nations, but we still can look and be just and have compassion. Where it's like Asian women deserve not to be raped or forced. You know what I mean? Or white children don't deserve to be sexually assaulted. African children don't deserve to be said. We can look at it for what it is and say, this is wrong. Period. Do mine again. I'm gonna say it again. We don't deal with the other side, but we can call it like this is wrong. But it's something in these people's mind where it's like there is no wrong trigger in their head. You know what I'm saying? There's no compassion. There's no. It's just like if it ain't violence, blood, and sex, it makes no sense to them. It's like violence, blood, and sex is what drive them, and it still makes no sense. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. At slave auctions, black women were sometimes paraded with their bodies, exposed to advertise their potential to bear children.
Mm-hmm.
Stripping enslaved people to whip them was a common sexualized humiliation added to corporal punishment.
Read it back just a little bit.
Stripping.
No, just a little more.
At slave auctions, black women were sometimes paraded with their bodies exposed to advertise their potential to bear children.
Mm-hmm.
Stripping enslaved people to whip them was a common sexualized humiliation.
That's the same thing that these European people do, where they got all the straps. You know what I mean? They hitting each other with a belt, choking them, doing all this other stuff. It's the same thing. The same exact thing. Go ahead.
Added to corporal punishment. In addition, enslaved people often were provided with inadequate clothing, and this exposure contributed to their vulnerability. Traveling in 18th century Virginia, Francois Jean Chestelux recorded seeing young Negroes from 16 to 20 years old with not an article of clothing, but a loose shirt descending halfway down their thighs, waiting at table.
16 to what were they doing in Greece? The same thing. What was they doing in what I believe 1600 or 1700s at first? The same thing, but they was taking. Now I believe they said the 1800s. That's where they at, doing the same thing. Now we look at 2026. It's the same thing, without the force of sex, which that's coming. Right now they're naked. They already got us by the. You know what I'm saying? They already got us tied on the rope. They're already saying you can dress and do what you want. This is fashion. This is fashion. But then what comes after fashion? Because again, you can nowadays you can love who you want to love. You can do what you want to do. Back then, even in ancient Greece, you can force a young boy, to have sex, and he's in the military. What the hell is you teaching a boy about dancing and sex in the military for? What are you teaching a boy about this for? When your whole objective and duty together as a unit is to go to war. But then you look at Athens, you look at Sparta, the Spartans, or in Sparta, it was nothing wrong with sexually assaulting a child. But then in 1700s come up, the slavers did it to the slave. I mean, the slave master did it to the slave. 1800s here, boom, look what's going on. 2026 here, the only thing changing right now is for them to go ahead and add the P in the LGBTQ plus IA. All they got to do is add the P. That's all they got to do. And also, I'm glad I said it. It's a pastor in Oklahoma. I can't remember what his name, but he sexually assaulted a young girl, and she brought it out in front of everybody. He apologized, and they let it fly. Yeah. It happened like 2 years ago when I got back here, in back where I'm at now. It happened. I seen the video. A brother sent it to me. But it comes to a point where we're going to have to realize, us as people, we can't continue to subscribe to what they got going on. Because the same way we say, oh, that's white people-ish, meaning raisins in a potato salad. Oh, them sharing a plate with a dog. You know what I'm saying? And doing all this other. We look at it like, oh, that's white people shit. But we don't look at nothing else. They say it's white people, so because we're so invested in it. We want to feel free and at once and open-minded and conscious. And you're not conscious. You're a fool. Because if you were conscious, you would know wrong is wrong, right is right. Morals and no morals. Integrity and no integrity. Women today on TikTok don't have no integrity. Shoestring up their ass. But men today got glittering skinny jeans on with their fingernails painted black. No morals, no integrity. And all they did was switch roles. Now all they got to do is pass a law. That's how this, and you ain't got control over the law if they want to pass it. You ain't got control. What they did with Roe v. Wade, and everybody was in the uproar about the whole abortions. Yeah, y'all was in the uproar talking about, well, what about women with incest and being raped and this, that, and the third? Yeah, we understand all that, but that ain't stopping nobody from having abortion or having babies. And when they legalize that, you will say, well, this, that. That still ain't gonna stop somebody from saying, I want somebody who's a pedophile. I don't want somebody who's a pedophile. It's going to happen. That's why Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians got to bring their spirit out this place and stop investing in the things that they love, like tobacco and weed. You know what I'm saying? Twerking and all this simple-minded, stupid stuff. All this simple stuff that we think is entertaining means nothing. We just like dead sheep out here. We don't know what's going. We don't even realize what Donald Trump and how much money he had to give over to these people this past week. We don't know nothing as a nation. We don't. We so woke and we know so much about history, but nigga, you don't even know who you are. You say you black and indigenous and this and that. You don't even know what tribe being indigenous you are. You just know you indigenous. You just know you the first person that was here 10,000 years. But what is that going to do for the nation of people knowing that this land belongs to you and you were the first people? What is that going to do knowing that putting your feet in grass barefooted? What the hell is that going to do for somebody who's homeless doing drugs and crack? Or a household with no father? Or a mother strung out on drugs? What is your knowledge going to do to solve this? The Bible has it. And the Bible's not for everybody. That's how we ran, you know what I'm saying? We ran Europe before the oppressors came through it. That's how we was able to, you know what I'm saying, take over, be dark ages. Like a lot of the stuff that people look at nowadays with the you know what I'm saying, the stuff Michael Jackson wear. A lot of that stuff is cold and we see it. But a lot of them thinking Michael Jackson copying old European custom. When we were running Europe, that's how we were dressing. We was dressed the same way y'all see Michael Jackson with all these sparkling and gold. That's how we dressed back then. It's just when those people took over, that became their custom. Go ahead.
Reproductive control and coercion.
Mm-hmm.
Enslavers had a financial interest in enslaved people's reproduction, as children born to enslaved women inherited their mother's enslaved status. This natural increase, as it was termed, enriched enslavers' bottom lines. Nowhere was this more so than in Virginia and other states of the Upper South. When a large enslaved population, the ending of the transatlantic slave trade, and a declining agricultural sector combined to make it profitable for enslavers to sell their surplus slave labor to the booming cotton states of the Lower South in 1832. During a debate over slavery in the House of Delegates, James H. Golson of Brunswick County compared enslavers' rights to the increase of their enslaved women to that of the owner of brood mares, and noted that this increase consists of much of our wealth. During the same debate, Thomas Jefferson Randolph noted that 8,500 enslaved people were exported annually from Virginia to the Deep South, and said it is a practice and an increasing practice in parts of Virginia to rear slaves for market. Historians disagree about how systematic forced reproduction was, but it is clear from oral histories and other firsthand accounts that enslavers did engage in the practice. James Green, who was enslaved in Virginia, recalled that his master chose the wife for every man on the place. No one had no say as to who he was going to get for a wife. All the wedding ceremony we had was with Master's finger pointing out who was whose wife. Will and Rogers.
You good. You go ahead about that. Let me get Jeremiah 10 and 2. So again, what we got to come to a mutual understanding as a people. We, not I, not you yourself, because again, the Lord looks at us as a unit. The Lord deals with us as a unit. And why we failing is because we think we can always be separate. You can love who you want. And what gets me too, man, I be on TikTok listening to these debates. I just be listening to how to deal with people. And it's how can you be LGBT and then you on a panel with females or males, whatever, and you talking about how black you is. But it doesn't matter how black you is, because if you falling into the other side and you're doing what they're doing, everything else you say is void. It's like being in this school and you saying, yeah, I'm in the home of the truth. I'm trooper. I'm 500. I'm 50, 1,000, whatever. But meanwhile, you still give your homeboy $1 and some change to go get a cigar. So everything you learn or everything you doing in school is vain, is void. You really not that. You're this over here. And it's good to put a facade on to look good, but the truth be told, you're really not who you say you are or what you stand on. Who you are, what you are, according to the truth. So again, if you LGBT, you talking about I'm black. Yeah, you black, but you don't stand for the truth of black. You stand for LGBT and the other side. Go ahead.
John's book of Jeremiah, chapter 10, verse 2. And it reads, "Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven."
Learn not the way of the heathen, man. Don't learn and don't fix yourself on wanting to know what he know, wanting to do what he do, want to seek out what he seek out, accomplish what he accomplished. You know what I'm saying? Benefit off of what he benefited off of. Because again, whatever he is benefiting off of, that's for him and his people. Whatever you fail at, we gonna benefit off your failure. You know how? How we gonna benefit off your failure?
How they benefit off our failure?
No. If he is benefiting off what he benefiting off of, and his people can benefit off of what he benefited off of, how do you benefit off of the next brother's failure or the next sister's failure?
No.
Go ahead, give it a shot.
I'm gonna say we don't.
That's a little close. Come on, you almost there.
Like selling out. Like our people that sell out.
There we go. That's perfect. That was a little better than what I thought you were gonna say. So again, if a brother is going to benefit off of failure, his brother is going to fail just like him. That's why you got black pastors, gangbangers. I'm in this gang trying to be this, trying to be that. But as soon as you start selling dope and unaliving people, your brother gonna ride behind and do the same thing. Guess what? He gonna benefit off your failure, and he gonna fail and do the same thing. And it's gonna become a residual cycle. That's why the black communities looked at like nothing but gangbangers, nothing but, you know what I'm saying, hoodlums, niggas with no jobs, sexual assaulters, according to, you know what I'm saying, what they say about the Latinos. So again, don't read that precept again.
God. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 10, verse 2. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen.
Learn not the way of the heathen. Again, if the oppressor is benefiting off of his wickedness and whatever, his people gonna benefit off it. But if you benefiting off it, we're gonna benefit off your failure, because you will never be like them. You'll never accomplish what they accomplished here in this kingdom. You'll never seek out. You might see a little bit, but you're just gonna see enough just for you to continue to strive in the wickedness that they sit in front of you. That's it. Like Diddy, for example. What's the Playboy Bunny dude? What's his name? I can't remember his name. You remember that old man that run Playboy Bunny? I'm just a real question.
No, I don't keep up with the others.
Well, the old man over Playboy Bunny, you see, he had all them young girls up in there. But guess what? Diddy did it. You know what I'm saying? He benefited off the failure of trying to find an oppressor. You see that? Good.
I do know about the dude from Nickelodeon, Dan Snyder.
See,
that allegation came out around the same time as Diddy, but like nobody even publicized it or talked about it the same way.
Me and my real, I think me and her. I think it was in Oklahoma at that time, or we might have just got back. But we watched it. I forgot how many episodes, but it's one season, and it's like wow. But where is he now? You don't hear about him. But then you hear about Diddy. Now you hear about Diddy seldom. Maybe every 3 months, maybe every 6 months. Something might pop up. But just a few weeks ago, they said, I believe it was one or two other people came up and spoke. But that's him trying to benefit off them. But now he's benefiting off the failure. They succeeded in it. He failed in it. They both succeeded, but he succeeded at failing trying to do what they do. If you get what I'm saying. Go ahead. All right, real quick. Hold on. All right, so so for the most part, they said, can you tell me why a Native American I should follow the teacher? All right, for the most part, I'm also Native Indian too. I'm Seminole Indian from the they like to say the last of the Mohegan, but I'm a Mohegan from Connecticut. If you look up history, and the reason why you should, because in the Bible, Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, North, Central, and South America, and the Caribbeans, all these people are the same people of the nation. It's just 12 tribes. Just like you got Africans got their tribe, you got white people got different tribes. For example, Swedish, Irish, European, Russian, whatever. Everybody got their own tribe, and we all fall under the same nation. So the things that Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian go through from then all the way up until now is because we actually strayed away. And speaking for the most part towards you directly, us Native Indians, you know, we like to worship feathers and owls and wolves and trees and do seances and be wicked when that was never our custom. That was never our culture. You know, that was just something we never done. You know, although we are compassionate people and we love things, but that wasn't something for us to do. But if you still on here, hopefully I answer your question. Go ahead. That was it? Or you got something else?
No, I found that precept about circumcision.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 15.
Uh-huh.
And made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant and joined themselves to the heathen and were sold to do mischief.
So, and that's the thing. They uncircumcised themselves and were sold to the heathen, meaning they was cut off, and now they are joined to another people, another heathen, and they was doing mischief. They was doing wickedness because they uncircumcised themselves. Because we know when you circumcise outside of a male and his rod, you circumcise from everything else, and you with the Lord. But at that time, you know what I'm saying, they went out and done mischief. Go ahead. But that's it. Well, last precept right here, Leviticus 20 and 13. Anyways, yeah, man, we Israelite School Universal Practical Knowledge, starting out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, on the commanding journey in Hana. We teach Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians and West Indians, Caribbeans, whatever, you know, who they are according to the Bible, the actual truth of the Bible, that they are the 12 lost tribe. We're not affiliated with any other Israelite group, Muslim mosque, or any Christian organization, man. Go ahead.
It's the book of Leviticus, chapter 20, verse 13. And it reads, if a man also lie with mankind, as he lied with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination.
See, in America, we know the scripture, and everybody say it. You know, a nation divided, you know what I'm saying, should surely fall. You got Democratic, Republicans. You got all these different sectors of Army, Navy, Coast Guard, Marines. You got all these split sectors. Then you got all these hate groups, KKK, Boogaloo Boys, Posse Comitatus. You got all Nazis. You got all of them. And then you turn around, you got these old little black coalitions and militias and stuff in the backwoods. And you got all these other people, right wing and left wing. And you got all these people. Goodness, I almost missed my point. Read it one more time.
It's the book of Leviticus, chapter 20, verse 13. And it reads, if a man also lie with mankind.
All right, now I got it. So again, if a house that is split surely gonna fall, but it's clearly going to tell you if a man sleep with a man or a woman sleep with a woman is an abomination. You know what I'm saying? And they should be put to that. But the thing is, why is some of America accepting some of this and some America ain't? And the thing is, what they're gonna say is, this is the land of the free, the United States. But if that's the case, then why can't the people who's supposed to do what they supposed to do according to who they is do it? Do it. If it's the land of the free, why do y'all have any morals? Period. Why can't you just do what you want to do? Go ahead.
If a man also lie with mankind as he lieth with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death.
So if a man lay with a man like he is supposed to lay with a woman, he surely should be put to. So what's the problem, Christian? See, the issue is what this Leviticus. Yeah, the issue is you don't want to deal with the old consequences. You want to go to the new era and say the law is done away with because you don't want to deal with the old consequences. But we all know it's moral. You're moralist. And the thing is, just because you don't want to listen to the laws of the Lord will alive you the way he doing you slowly with monkeypox, AIDS and HIV, syphilis. You know what I'm saying? What's the other trichinosis, whatever they call it. You don't want to listen. So the Lord, he got a way of transitioning things. Since you don't want to listen to me now, and these people ain't going. I told them they can't take your life. Then I'm gonna just let you. I'm gonna let you die slowly. I'm gonna just let you fall at your wits very slowly. Go ahead. Go ahead, Al. You got it.
Their blood should be upon them.
That's it. And your blood will be upon you. Like AIDS. Go ahead, Al.
Not the person.
Go ahead.
This book of Romans, chapter 1, verse 26. For this cause, the Most High gave them up unto vile affection.
Wow. Go ahead.
For even their women did change the natural use into that which is against nature.
So even the women start being carpet munchers. Same way. The males are doing reverse plunging. Same thing. Go ahead.
Verse 27. And likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burn in their lust one toward another.
So they doing reverse plunging. You got men taking rod from other men, like women should be. What is the issue here, man? Go ahead.
Men with men, working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error.
And it's unseemly. That is not natural. Go ahead.
Recompense of their error, which was me.
All right, man. Let's. Hey, we the Israelite School, Universal Practical Knowledge, starting out at 1 West 125th Street, out of New York, under Commander General Yohana. We teach Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians who they are according to the Bible, the actual truth of the Bible. Not no Christian stuff what we think we know. We actually know the truth. We're not affiliated with any other Israelite group whatsoever. We the home of the truth. You know, we're not affiliated with Muslimized Christian organization or any Israelite group. You know, we got historical proof, we got biblical proof, archaeology, and so on and so forth, man. You know, I'm Priest and Officer Ashaya Allah for Brotherhood class today. You know, these announcements, these security announcements. We are the ISUPK, started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for a brother or sister. When a new brother or sister come into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to share themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which a brother and sister will court each other. After 6 months period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithe, which is a commandment. Numbers 18:21, Malachi 3:8-10, means 10th of Hebrew, Ma'ashara. 10% of every penny and increase the Lord gives you. Give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Up holy convocation, where we at? Dog. Yeah, I think that's what it was. Yeah. Memorial blowing of the trumpets, first day of the 7th month, Friday, September. Hold up. Yeah, Friday, September 11th, 2026, Leviticus 23:24-25. Reminder Akim and Akwab to check the bulletin board in the hallway. If any brother wants to be a trooper in the school to start wearing all black boots, shirt, pants, headband, and war scar. All right, minute injury, Amadi. We're gonna give one courtesy salute to the sisters. One courtesy salute. Minute injury, Amadi Shabbat, Amadi, Barak, Yahba Shimmy Al Shah Brakatah, Yahba Sar, face the sister. One courtesy salute to the sister. Minute injury, Amadi Shabbat, Amadi, Barak, Yahweh Shemar Thaba Shimmy Al Shah. Yahba dismissed. Well,